Hello and welcome back to a very, very delayed another episode of RobManWorld. Sorry, things have been a bit crazy.
It's only been like,
3 years? 4? I don't know. A decade? A month? So, hi! RobManWorld back in the basement cave, and with me is, some of you may have heard me refer to him as Mini-Man. Not so mini anymore. My lord, where does the time go? Others know him as Odie. It's my son. Here he is.
So, we have an interloper attempting to break into our stream and jack my signal.
But I'm on YouTube.
I'm here now.
So basically what we've decided to do is try a new idea. See, I have a fascination for really badly made movies from my youth. Mm-hmm. We have recently, through discussion, found out that Odie here has a fascination for really badly made movies now.
Yes.
But I realized there's a vast difference between what constituted a horrible movie when I was a teenager and what constitutes a horrible movie now. So we decided to try something new, and we're calling it Can You Polish a Turd?
Yeah, so basically, Dad's gonna show me a movie that he selected from, I think you have 32 right now, movies that were B movies from like the 80s. And I, afterwards, am also going to be showing a movie that is kind of this generation's B movie. And we're going to kind of compare and show. And as we've kind of talked about, the definition of B movies have shifted dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
From still relatively high-budget things that were kind of cheesy to a dude with like relatively sparse equipment in their basement.
Well, yeah, because back in the 80s, these were still sort of studio-produced films. I mean, they had to have a budget, they had to have a script, they had to have a director and all of that. This was still a professional film. It was going straight to VHS for rental shelves, but it was still technically a movie shoot. Whereas nowadays, you get a lot of folks with, a cell phone camera or four and a bunch of friends, and they just decide to film some stuff.
So now there's just an incredible bulk of crap movies being made.
Oh, I see what you did there, and that one stings already. Yeah, you see, we discovered this by swapping horrible movies back and forth from his generation to mine to make this happen. So this is hopefully the first episode of many, seeing if Odie can find any kind of enjoyment and fun out of a 1980s, 90s really bad movie, and whether I can still find any humor and fun or anything to enjoy out of a modern, really bad movie. So, with that in mind, I'll tell you what, why don't you introduce what you have decided to put on for us today?
Alright. First of all, you can call me by my real name, it's fine.
No, it's okay, we gotta stick with Odie.
No.
Why not, man? Look, it's going up on both channels. It'll be fine.
On both channels?
Yeah. Oh, no, you don't want to do it? Don't want to wreck your algorithm. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm bad for his algorithm. Look at my son. It's all so fancy now. I'm too bad for his algorithms.
But anyway, the movie that I'm going to be doing is one that you may have heard of because it's gotten a lot of coverage on the internet, especially recently, last few years. It was a high quality produced movie back in the 2000s that famously had some of the workers and the people who were working on it try to burn all of the hard drives it was stored on so that people didn't see this movie. It's Foodfight.
It's a what now?
It's a movie called Foodfight, and it's only slightly racist in some parts. Don't worry about
What?
it. You don't need to worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Right.
So your movie.
Right! Oh, I'm not sweating and nervous after that at all. So what I have chosen is a delightful little piece of cinema from 1988 called C.H.U.D 2, Bud the C.H.U.D. Now, here's the great part. You don't need to see the first part because I can sum it up for you in like 3 sentences.
Okay.
The original C.H.U.D was made to be a genuine horror movie. They were trying to be scary in that one. Cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers. So the idea was that there was an urban myth about these strange cannibal humans that were living in the abandoned subway tunnels under a city. Mm-hmm. And then throughout it you find out that, oh my god, they're really real. So this one basically takes... The only thing it takes from it is the title C.H.U.D and the concept of an undead cannibal monster. Everything else completely bananas. It's also a horror comedy. So Miniman here does not care for a lot of gore and violence, so we're going to see how this goes. But this is really this is like Three Stooges gore. It's really dumb.
Great.
So we're going to put those on. Both of us are now rather nervous about what's about to happen to our eyes and brains. But we're going to check that out, and then when we're done, we're going to recap back to here, and we're going to review both movies and see how it goes.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot. Now, look, I like me a bad movie. And now, a few things I want to get out of the way first. I didn't know the history of this. I didn't know until you told me that this was recovered off of burnt hard drives.
Yeah.
And there's a very long and somewhat sordid history to this thing. But the cast
is
I was shocked at the number of A-list people that voiced parts of this film. I mean, this was...
I'm pretty sure this was a DreamWorks. Like, this was a DreamWorks production.
Yeah, well, their dream broke.
Yeah.
Oh, my lord.
Dream broke. Dream broke. We ain't got that anymore.
Oh, man. Okay, so,
we've got number 1. We've got Brand X.
Brand X, it's simple and plain. Brand X, it's different but all the same.
Pudding and strudel is what I think about, that and myself.
Fry their eggs!
It's trying to take the Nazi aesthetic and very thinly disguise it in we are the evil brand company. There was it's not Indiana Jones, dog. You know,
it's generic detective outfit 01.CHR.
There was the remarkably zesty vampire bat that looked like the creature Munchie from the second Munchies movie. That was the worst animatronic any human has ever seen, and somehow got even worse.
Yeah.
In CG. Okay.
Just to drive home the point of how terrible this was, the movie started production in like 2004. And didn't end production until 2012.
Yeah, although that was mostly due to a lot of snags with the studio and difficulties in infighting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there any way that someone did you get any enjoyment out of the terribleness of this film?
Now, are we talking ironic enjoyment or genuine enjoyment?
No, genuine enjoyment. Ironic. Well, I guess ironic enjoyment kind of counts as genuine enjoyment when it comes to this kind of stuff, at least in my opinion, because that's usually the case.
Okay, if I were to watch this and I didn't know that it would have been bad, I would probably rank it... Well, what's the scale that we would do? Like, out of 10, out of 100, because it's more precise. The turd table.
Alright, we are now using the Katie Couric scale that South Park created for the size of the turd.
The turd table, I'd give that.
So how many dukes out of 5 do you give this film?
If I didn't know that it was going to be bad and I actually just wanted to watch something, I would give it about 3 turds out of 5 because there was some funny moments.
There were.
But it was mainly disguised in CGI that was in 2004 bad.
Oh no, it looked like an N64 game.
Yeah, no,
it was terrifying.
It was ironic enjoyment. I'd give it 4 turds out of 5.
4 out of 5. So we can consider this a fairly polished turd for your summation.
Now I would like to hear your opinions on this.
Okay, now look, I am a enjoyer of the trash cinema, no doubt. Dealing with really bad CG is difficult for me, although at the same time, I mean, I grew up through the era where that was like top quality.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have seen that kind of animation before. There were enough dumb, funny moments in it, plus I have to give it its kudos for the voice cast that was just unbelievable, and so there's a fair amount of like chuckle factor to the fact that they were involved.
Yeah.
Cons, I have to say, yeah, the CG was painful, the pacing was not the best, and the storyline was, yeah.
While this movie is available on YouTube, I don't blame you if you don't watch it. Basically, this is how it went. First act took like 30 minutes, then it was act 2 for like the rest of the movie, and then we jump cut to act 3 for like 10 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pacing was disgustingly horrifying. But overall, I have to say, yes, I did find some humorous moments. Yes, I did find this somewhat funny. I was able to ironically and non-ironically enjoy it.
So what's your turd table?
I'm gonna give this one a... Yeah, I'll give it a... I'm gonna give it a slightly lower knock for myself because it doesn't have the nostalgia factor for me. So 3.5.
Okay.
3.5 dukes out of 5. No, we're not doing like ironic and unironic. There's far too much math.
Okay, fine.
You're thinking too hard. Just in general, you give a 1. We each give a score. You gave it.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 then.
We both gave it 3.5.
Cool.
So we both gave Food Fight 3.5 turds out of 5.
Yay, 60%.
It is a mostly polishable turd.
Now we're gonna move on to your
Bud
movie.
the C.H.U.D. 1988. Wonderful horror comedy. There's more cheddar in this than you'd find in a bag of nacho cheese. It's fantastic. Now you get to experience bad movies from my generation.
Oh,
so
this is
we'll
going to
see.
be so fun. I can't wait. The excitement is just billowing out of
Okay.
my voice right now.
Can't you see how chomping at the bit he is to see this film? Well, we're going to start that one up, and we'll be right back with you in a couple of minutes.
I don't think I'm going to do that twice.
And so now you've experienced a B movie from my generation. Although, okay, arguably C.H.U.D 2 was technically a fully produced studio-style movie. Because they were back then. But that's what we considered bad.
So was Food Fight, though.
Its final release was not handled by an actual studio, though, was it? Like, it wasn't released in theaters, was it?
I'll go check, but I believe it did.
It released in theaters? Oh my.
It might have actually put it up on screen. Yes.
That's terrifying and horrible.
Anyway.
But so, Bud the C.H.U.D, buddy. What do you think?
That was a movie that happened. It was still unironically good, so it kind of shows again the difference where it was still well made, but it was bad instead of just, hi, we're gonna throw random things at some equipment and say yes.
Okay, so compared to the B movies of today, what do you see as the big difference?
They were just overall better.
Okay.
Like they were just, no questions asked, they were just better because it not ironically, I was still enjoying things that actually. It did get dry in the middle there. It did get really dry in the middle because
most 80s horror movies kind of did. They had some boring, because they need to kind of draw out some boringness before they can punch you again with some excitement, right?
True, but I feel like there was a bit too much boring because it was like, hi, we're gonna show like 40 minutes of this guy going around and biting people.
Okay, but at the same time, I mean, these movies were often watched by groups of teenagers hanging out together.
True, so
either
just be
at a
talking.
sleepover, or so there'd be some chatting and throwing popcorn at each other, joking around during the slower moments, and then of course everyone absorbed in the busier ones. But yeah.
So yeah, honestly, the turntable. Now it's your turn to go first because this is your movie.
All right, so for me, I mean, this movie, it has humor. It's got fairly decent acting. For anyone who was a teenager back in the 80s, there were a fair number of well-known character actors in this film, so the cast was, again, surprisingly good for what it was. Mm-hmm. I do have the nostalgia factor in there. To me, as far as a crappy movie goes, this definitely gets a 5 deuces out of 5 on the turdometer. Okay. It is a well-polished turd. It shines, and it's beautiful in its own turdish way.
Honestly, for me, yeah, same. Because while putting it against, is kind of like putting a 5-star athlete against a first grader. It's still it's still more enjoyable because it was actually like they actually kind of put thought into it, and it wasn't so bad that people tried to burn the source files. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they genuinely tried.
Yeah, they actually tried, and they didn't just pass it off as some sort of, hi, we're doing this because, yes.
Okay, so the Food Fight, just to recap, gets a solid
60% on the turntable.
A solid 3.5 out of 5 deuces.
Which is 50.
On the turdometer.
So 60%, yeah.
And then the Bud the Chud, the 80s one, it gets itself a
100.
A 5-star top rating on turdometer.
So we've got a like, and a beautiful.
So we've got a moderately shiny and a beautiful one. So yeah, so this is the first episode of Polishing Turds. Can you polish a turd? And we apparently can with those two.
We apparently can. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this, consider doing anything.
I can't think of a more ringing endorsement than that. But I hope you enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed making it. If hopefully you guys will check out these films because they are worth the watch for how horrible they are. And if you're an enjoyer of trash cinema, these should be right up your alley.
Alright, check back in 3 years for episode 2.
Oh, listen up, Mr. Smarty Pants. Oh. I do have to say, a lot of hard work put into this by Mini-Man himself over here, Mr. Odie. Go check out his channel if you like. Very different. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of sort of homemade shorts and things going on.
Not
like
as
shorts,
much, yeah.
Short films.
Sorry. Not as much anymore. I'm trying to focus on skits and short films.
Okay, but some of them. I mean, your music is good. You should be proud of it.
Sure. Okay, here. Hold up 1 second.
Why are you looking?
I have a Spotify. Okay.
This has been the initial inaugural episode of Can You Polish a Turd? And so far, yes, we can.
Yeah.
So, we hope you've liked it. Check out the films if you like. There will be more in the future. And otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one.
Yay. Bye.